So I've had, my name is Patrick Wanjuki. I'm a procurement practitioner. Every day I practice procurement. I know you might ask, how do you practice? It's when I see those letters and I see the problems you are going through. I know the challenge. And when you find my letter as the DG, at the end of the day, I close with this paragraph. The authority is available to provide any technical advice. Isn't? For those who have received such a letter, it is to appreciate the challenges that you have. Procurement law is not easy. I can confirm to you. Unlike company law or the law of contract, because in the procurement law, the issue is interest. When you go to the market and everyone wants to sell to you, and you cannot buy from everyone, those you don't buy from are usually not very happy, is it? Even when you try to convince, I will pass here next time and I will buy from you, Mama Mboga, or that hustler who is trying to make a net in their life. So, I appreciate the challenges you go through, and therefore as a practitioner, I feel when I put the other hat for the regulator, the reality of life is that it is a fairly difficult job to regulate when you understand the problem. But the beauty about it, if you are a good doctor, first you must diagnose what is the disease, is it? If you haven't known what is the disease, chances are likely that you'll be treating the right disease. Before I proceed from here, for those who are here last year, I know the chair, the CEO did mention that they will be taking us through what were the resolutions of last year's forum, the second forum, and combining with this year's year's resolutions. But I would like to state this. In the last year's forum, which was held here, there were 2 resolutions which were supposed to be undertaken by PPRA. Chairman, one of the first resolution was to issue a circular defining the reporting lines of the head of procurement function. True? We issued a circular to that effect, providing who is the head of procurement function, who is the head of procurement function supposed to report to, irrespective of whatever names they are called. It's called the accounting officer. It is my hope and wish that there is no one here reporting to any other person other than the accounting officer. Please. I'm talking as the regulator now. Yes. The reporting function person of head of procurement is the accounting officer. Ladies and gentlemen, for us to get there, men and women sweat for this definition. And why did they sweat for this definition? Because we needed to clarify that there are no instructions from above. There are no instructions from above. The only above is your boss, who is the head, who is the accounting officer. Are we together there? And I hope if there is anyone, if I tell you the experience, I hope no one is from KRA here, because you might start saying you have a bragging right. How did this story of reporting to the accounting officer come up? If you, for all those who may know about the 2005, it was in the manual, isn't it? It was not in the act. I used to work for Kenya Revenue Authority. Procurement used to report to Commissioner Corporate Services. Commissioner Corporate Services used to sit on 27th floor of Times Tower building. Procurement used to sit on 25th floor, And the Commissioner General used to sit on 30th floor. So, this is how I knew I must kill the word orders from above. You have done an evaluation, then somebody walks to your office, it is instruction from above. Of course, above is 27th floor. Of course, from above is from 30th floor. And how did we manage to ensure that it was put in the law, not in the regulations, not in the circular, not in the manual? And I say that because I know at the moment many procurement officers who walk to my office, they tell me this such a story. DG, I just wish you know what pressure I'm going through. This is not my decision. This professional opinion is not my professional opinion. Then I ask, how? And you are reporting to the accounting officer. It's because I report to another person who also reports to another person. So the circular was to sort out that issue of not reporting to any other person. That was the first circular, and I hope, Chairman, you, as the regulator of the professionals, we regulate the practice, KISIM regulates the professionals. From a practice point, a professional opinion forwarded to the CEO should not be submitted to the review board. I hope the chairman is here of the review board. The professional opinion must be to the accounting officer. And the accounting officer is one. There are not two in an institution. If you are in accounting government, it is the chief officer. Isn't it? It's the chief officer. Please, it is not the CEC, for avoidance of doubt. It is the chief officer. If you are in the State Department, it is the PS, it is not the CS. If you are in a parastatal, it is to the CEO, who they are called either DG, depending with whether they are regulatory, MDs, CEOs, and they also, in some institutions, have ED, executive directors. That was one delivery, and we have delivered. And the second delivery that was supposed to be done was to issue a circular about schools. We issued a circular requiring all schools, tertiary institutions, and colleges must have procurement functions. And that circular was issued, and I'm happy that of late I have seen advertisement for positions of heads of procurement in schools. And I'm aware that a number of us sit in some of those boards, isn't it, of schools. Yet you are still allowing the bursars to be heads of procurement. Yet you are still allowing the secretaries to the principals to be signing procurement proceedings. My request is this. When such a procurement comes to the review board, as a clear position and the board is that you cannot sign a professional opinion unless you have a practicing license. And I'm happy that the KISIM has taken a position to deal with issues of prior learning. But we just hope this prior learning, that will not give an entry to quacks into the profession. In the name of other names I won't say. Chairman, I'm requesting. If it is prior learning, you have been practicing for X years in procurement. Please, not HR, not finance, not BASA. Are we together? That statement might not make you happy, but I'm saying that is how it ought to be. Because this is the time that people will take advantage to get to say they are procurement professionals. They have been practicing, but they have been practicing illegally. But if you have been a head of procurement of an institution, you have procured for the last 7 years, then all reasons that there could be prior learning on that. So we do hope that my thing, what I was supposed to talk about was the issue of enhancing efficiency and specifically on the strategic role. I do hope that those deliveries were done, and all of you can attest to that you saw those circulars. Let me go to strategic leadership in public procurement profession or other function. From a regulator's point, you can look at it from a different point. One thing that you need to do, and you must undertake, is to align the procurement functions, operations, with organization strategic direction or plan. Colleagues, for those who come from the public sector, those who come from private sector, you might find that I will be a bit biased. You know, everyone has his own trade. My trade is regulating public procurement. But it is not that I don't know the private sector practice. Before I joined the public sector, I worked for 12 years in the private sector. I can confirm that the chair of KISIM was my boss. He's the one I delivered my designation to join public sector. So you can, if you read his profile, then you can ask where was his last employment. That is also was my last employment in the private sector. So you'll appreciate. When we say aligning yourself to the strategic direction of the organization, what is this from a procurement point? Procurement is a strategic function. When we join the public, the practice, I can confirm to you, there was no degree called procurement, contract management, logistics, or supplies management. And then, some of us who got into that space, and we were told to go to, then it was called purchasing. I think that was the most difficult decision some of us ever made. Very difficult. You leave the university, you are told to go and work in purchasing. Why? At that time, the position was not seen to be strategic. Of course, it was strategic to those who understood. Multinationals put a lot of effort in the area of supply chain. And therefore, from a procurement point, please ensure you understand the strategic direction of the institution you are working for. The minute you understand that strategic direction, then fit the procurement practice or supply chain practice within the strategic direction. What am I simply putting here? Please, and I do request, as Director Omoyo did me say, procurement people, please talk. Please articulate ideas. Don't be the only people who last talk. If you don't know where the institution is heading, how can you contribute into the mission of that institution? Therefore, it's important that at any time, from a strategic point, to remain relevant, you must be seen and be heard. And even quote the words of the chairman of KISEM. He quoted one thing which I think I need to say: don't wait for someone to tell you a story. Tell it yourself. Unfortunately, the procurement people never tell the story. I look at the road sector. I call them the wonderful three ladies of Kenha, Kera, Kura. Who knows about those ladies? Who knows them? No one knows about them. The heads of procurement of those three institutions are three ladies. No one knows about them because we never talk about the success of our story. We never talk about it. We only see the negatives, which are to almost what the MD of Media Council said, selling that good story of the successes in the road sector. No one talks about the successes. We only see the bad stories. Yet you know very well, for those of us who have been around, if you drove a car from Nairobi to Kisumu, some, say, 20 years ago, 20 years ago, chances are that you'll have to, when you come to Nairobi, you'll have to change the shocks of that car, isn't it? Chances are that you'd have to change the tires because you hit a pothole, isn't it? But today, Kenneth, what happens today? You drive, no pothole you have hit along the way, no shocks you have to change. It is a success story. But we don't align those success stories in supply chain to talk about us. Because we said we need to address strategic leadership towards stabilizing supply chain management. We are, as a practice, we are endangered because only negativities come from that angle. Then the next thing I would like to take on this matter, strategic planning. Organization to prioritize the procurement of strategic nature that directly impact on service delivery in cost-effective manner. One of the issues, and unless you are not a Kenyan like me, the story about Gen Z, which we have had, has gone around the issue of cost-effectiveness, has gone to the issue of transparency, has gone to the issue about what is the value of the goods and services that we are procuring. Those goods and services that we are procuring as the people in the supply chain, do they resonate with the reality on the ground? Are you convinced that the air ticket or the SGL ticket that you used to come to Mombasa was the value you would have procured, or are you procuring for yourself? I can assure you, yes, I was convinced that that ticket was the price it ought to be bought. I know many of you could be in the grades for use of business class when you travel. We are serving a public. Why would you buy that ticket, which is 3 times, to go to the US, because you are going for a training into the US, and buy it 3 times? Yes, because it costs 3 times. Yet you with your money, you would not buy. With your money, you would not buy. I'm asking this because it is us. I work for PPRA, I'm the CEO, I've never used a business class. I've never. Yes, I'm entitled. I've never used one. Like, the one head of procurement is here, Monica. I've never used. Because I ask this question. If I also largely travel with my family when I'm traveling. If I can't buy a business class for using my own money, why would I use it for the government of Kenya? What are we saying? Even when you are advising your CEOs, because you are the advisor. Remember one cardinal rule that was passed to the heads of procurement, which was never passed to other functions other than another one which has always been there. Professional opinion. A professional opinion is only issued by a professional. That professional opinion can even disagree with what the evaluation committee has. You don't know. Yes. I find people fearing to disagree with what the evaluation committee has said. Disagree. Gladys, is it out of it? Disagree. That's not why you are a professional. The other people are not professional in your area. So align your strategy and with the best interest of the organization that you work for. The other issue is staff development in the area of towards stabilizing supply chain management. I can see here we are seated about 300, is it? The heads of procurement in this country are not 300. There are more. If you take 50 state departments, you take parastatals, which are about 320, you go to commissions, you go to universities and the likes, I think the number is more than 1,000. The last time we did a calculation, because I belong to a group called the White Van. That time, to get a full WhatsApp was 250, is it? PS Mambaya. It was 250. I know we were struggling to push the group to another. There was another social media handle which could handle more than 250, because we are talking about 500. But what I'm trying to go about, staff development. Even as you come here, you are still struggling to push the agenda with the people who have the budget to fill this hall to the 1,000 I expect. Before we go to that primary school, at least we need to be not less than 1,000 heads of procurement. What we are, I'm simply saying, focus on wholesome development of procurement staff through continuous staff training on, among others, the best practices. This is one forum that a head of procurement should not miss. It is one forum. This is the forum whereby you'll get issues which are being discussed that cut on practice on a day-to-day. There are also those who are from the private sector. This is also a forum you need to meet and exchange ideas with other professionals. Let me reiterate at this point. How you grow as a professional, it depends with the networks of the professionals. If you are a young professional, please look out for an elder professional to hold your hand. If you are an older professional, please look out for the young ones whom you can hold their hand. The reason being, and how do you deal with it? The reason being is that there are very many things which are not written in public procurement, or rather in the procurement practice. They are not written. They are not taught in school. You will learn them through your interactions. Therefore, what I'm simply trying to push is the idea, how do we stabilize? One of it is by building relationship which builds on your practice. If you have a problem, you have a first call. You can take a phone call. I know almost every head of procurement has my phone number, for obvious reasons. I'm in those groups where you definitely will be able to reach out. You have an idea. If you are in, say for example, you are in the energy sector, the head of procurement of Kengen, all he needs to do is to pick a phone call and reach out to the person in Ketraco, Kenya Power, Geothermal. If you are in the road sector, I'm sure they even most likely they have a WhatsApp group in the road sector. If you are in the health sector, you are in MTRH, and you need a resolution of an issue to do with a medical procurement, I honestly would not expect that the head of procurement for KNH does not have the contact for all heads of procurement in all level 5 hospitals, or 6 of the above. You must have. That is what it means to remain relevant in a very turbulent time like this one. Some of the issues we keep addressing in the PPRA are issues when I look at it and I say, this was just a phone call and it sorts out. Now it has become an ESCC issue, a DCI issue, and even when they go to those offices, how they are being interpreted, you can tell is out of lack of information. And luckily, I will also tell you that we have had a very good working relationship with ESCC. We have entered into an MOU on how to deal with issues that cut on public procurement space, so that we don't have somebody being charged in court for an issue that does not really call for person being accused. And in procurement, I will tell you, whether the framers of the Constitution and the public procurement law were a fair student like me. The law says the process needs to be fair. Why not excellent? Why not excellent? Yes, just need to be fair. No one expects you to have an excellent process. An excellent process is where everybody says, I'm okay, I'm happy, but unfortunately it doesn't happen in procurement, is it? So what we are simply saying, let's working towards ensuring that our procurement process are fair, that anyone even who comes, who interacts with them, feel they are assured that the process was fair. We don't demand for excellence because we don't expect to get them either. Collaboration and stakeholders engagement. Rethinking how the procurement engages with the user departments, suppliers, and adopting customer-centered approach. You know, from then on a practitioner, one of the things we are blamed, those who are in the procurement practice, is that we don't give our opinion, is it? Until ufike pale kwa section 84, sindio? All along you are just that silent guy, that silent lady, until things get wrong. Please engage your users, engage the market, engage everyone who needs to be involved. I usually give an illustration. We work in Kilimani, in Nairobi, that's where Kissing. I also don't stay very far away from there. When I leave the house in the morning and I'm told come with milk, come with bread, there are three things which come to my mind. One, there is a Carrefour supermarket. There is a Naivas supermarket at Prestige, Carrefour at the junction, and right Kidaruma Road there is Quickmart. There are three supermarkets. I can do any of them and I'll get value for money. But there are also times I leave at past midnight to my office for many reasons. That time, it's only the petrol stations, self-service stores which are open. Do you buy milk and bread every time at petrol station service stores? Of course you know they are expensive, isn't it? And that's why they are self-service, because they are 24 hours. They are open throughout. Ordinarily I would buy from the three supermarkets. What am I trying to, message am I trying to say? From a strategic point, please know your customer. Know who are your suppliers. Don't have this attitude, you know, if I know Carrefour, I'll be told it's because I'll get commission. No, you just do it is the right thing to do, okay? That is the strategic way of looking at it. There is always this element, no, I don't even want to pronounce myself that that is the right supplier. Many years as I worked, my former CEO would ask me, who are these? Yes, who are these? Many of you, whenever you are asked who are these, you take offense, is it? How about if at all you are giving a contract of 1.5 billion to an Al-Shabaab sympathizer or financier? What would you tell the government when things go wrong? Are we together? You must know your customer. You must find out. Could be a financier of some sort. So it is not out of range. And I'm talking this from the theme of stabilizing. You must know your customer. You must engage with your stakeholders. You must have, as a supply practitioner, you must have every contract. Every contact possible. Every contact possible. Even when you umeshikwa na police and whatever has happened between that police and, please take that contact. You might need it one day. Yes. Please take that contact. You might need it another day. And that day, maybe it will be a supply chain matter. Contact, engagement. I hope you all get my point when I say, please, every head of procurement, every procurement practitioner, contact your stakeholder engagement, your influence in the industry, counsel out. Professionalization of the procurement function. I did mention here about the issue of the practitioners in the procurement practice. What the chairman of and the CM has not told you, they are saying that for the last 1.5 years or so, 1 year, the number has increased from 7 to 10,000. They are not telling you the truth. The truth is this hand. That is the truth. I just invoked one provision. In every letter we send to you, we say you must provide the practicing license of the head of procurement who provided the professional opinion and all the procurement professionals who are involved in the procurement proceedings. Done. Today, if you submit a response on a procurement application to the review board and you do not provide the practicing license for the procurement professional who signed the professional opinion, count it done. Gone. Yes. CM, now you are convinced. What am I simply saying? The practice, the professional must be defended by every one of us if you believe in that profession. I believe in procurement. Anytime. And if you want to believe in the procurement, if you want to be convinced like I am, just go around this country. Look at those monumental infrastructure done by government. Look at those hospitals. Look at those SGR, name it. Behind each of these institutions, there's a procurement professional. True? Is it? You can tell. That is what it gives the motivation to know that what it means to when you practice and promote the profession. Today, as we sit here, I feel very proud that more than in the 2008, when did the SPMM come to SPM? Yes, 2007. 2006 we had a meeting somewhere. It was in South Bay, in Nairobi, and we were debating on the question: should we call it supplies practitioner? The debate, I had a different view. Fine, it went through. What am I saying? That to get even 10 people in a room to discuss such an important document was difficult. But today, look at it, 300 plus seated here. That tells you what it means when we work towards this. And from a regulator's point, I can confirm to you, if there is anything that can make PPRA work easier, it is having the right people practicing procurement out there. And when we have the right people who understand what is supposed to be done, as you did hear from the chairman, ARB, that is Public Procurement Administrative Review Board, where he said the number of complaints coming to the review board have drastically reduced. What does that mean? Compliance. What does that mean? It is simply telling The problem you all know we have been having with the insurance agencies, isn't it? You all know what has been there, unless you are from Jerusalem, not Kenya. Now you know the space, what we are having in the space of ERPs. I'm not sure you know what is happening in the ERP space. It is the next frontier of corruption. Insurance has been the best frontier of corruption because there it is institutionalized. It is known that a tender for insurance, there is a commission of 10% as a minimum, isn't it? Don't tell me you don't know. You know. And it is institutionalized that for any insurance, if you want to check how good you are, just check yourself how good you are when you are doing a tender for insurance. And of course, are reasonable, not the PPRA tenders for insurance. If you are doing a serious tender for insurance, that is when you realize what it means. Then from a strategic point, so try as much as possible to professionalize, then embrace self-regulation and have in place systems that assist in ensuring compliance. Please allow me to humbly request this. It is not a must that PPRA must come to do a review. It is not a must that Kenao must come to do. Can you just do the right thing? Just do the right thing. If you do the right thing, yes. And I want also to tell you something. Doing the right thing does not necessarily mean when there is no complaint at PPRA, when there is no application at the review board, when there is no complaint at EACC or DCI. No. In fact, for those of us who practice in that space of huge money, you celebrate when somebody goes to review board. Yes, you celebrate. Because it is confirmed whether you did it right. Are you okay? When there's a complaint at PPRA, you are happy. Because by the time you get that report from PPRA after the audit, you master it. You had Mr. Omoyo saying those 9 requirements. He is my candidate. He does procurement and there is somebody who raises. So now he has mastered. There are 9 requirements. The last time I read them, there were 16. There were not 9. From the procurement plan, requisition, the notice, the tender document, the appointment letter for opening committee, the evaluation committee appointment. Then we have the evaluation report. If there were any clarification sought, then you close the evaluation report. Then there is due diligence. There is the evaluation. There is the professional opinion. There is the approval by the accounting officer. Up to notification of intention to enter into contract. Please don't feel bad when you have those things. Complaints made. There is nothing wrong. It is okay. It makes you even much better than the person who has to wait only for other offices to come, and when we are checking, there was a problem. After all, what we ordinarily do, we raise the issues, we tell you there are gaps. There are gaps which can be addressed during the process. There are gaps which cannot be addressed. Looking at the importance of the procurement process, what we need to assure ourselves there is value for money. So just wanted to give you that assurance that you should not be worried that there is somebody who raises issues about your procurement. What has happened within the last 2 months, there are lessons to be learned. Transparency in the procurement processes. Let me call as it is being called, the Gen Zs are saying that there is no transparency. the legal framework is only supporting a certain group. Procurement people are ready to fail a tender document on not paginated. There is no document called CR12, even for a sole proprietorship. There is no tax compliance. There is no CR12 of not more than 6 months. There is no bank statement for 3 years. There are no audited financial statements. I can confirm that this group, to some extent, have a complaint with respect to public procurement. And no doubt, the head of state has pronounced himself. Please, the word is epicenter of procurement is in public procurement. Of corruption is in public procurement. Epicenter. Then, if the epicenter is in procurement, then the players are the men and women in front of me. Isn't it? Yes, let's face it. But we can also be honest. Let's be honest. And there is all reason to believe it is. There is no one who can convince me it is not true. It is true. It is very true. The question that we need to ask ourselves, what, how, and who perpetuates that epicenter? It is one, of course, we have a use, as one of the contributors said here, we have over legislated our systems. Isn't it true? Isn't it true? So we all went to school. Who said you can't correct an error? You know, your life, up to this day, you are an adult of sound mind. Let me add one for that, for lawyers. That you can't correct an error. Don't you see there's a problem there? When you are told you can't correct an error, yet all your years, I can tell you, this thing called experience, there's nothing in experience. It is just correcting problems. The last problem I had, this is what happened. Next time I will do it different, isn't it? But somebody is legislating and telling you, don't correct that error, even if you see it. Why did we get there? How did we get there? That the law has even told us, you cannot correct an error. Because there's a problem. And the problem has to do with us. I'm not saying the procurement people, it has to do with us Kenyans. Now I'm seeing that we want to legislate church, honestly, where no one should ever be checking behind who is there, because God is seeing you. Why would I need a document to guard how I behave, and God is omnipresent? This document called the procurement law is supposed to keep away how you practice because you are an agent, isn't it? You know procurement, you don't know the other name, you are brokers. Yes, you broker not for a fee, but for a salary, isn't it? You broker between the supplier and your employer, isn't it? Why would I need somebody to check whether the money I receive from church is because of the problem we have with other country. And we must ask ourselves, why are we getting there? Okay, so the issue I'm trying to put is transparency. We are a group. If we decide to change how things are done in this country, they can change. It can be changed. If we mean it well for our country. And how I say mean it, just procure from the lowest evaluated. Don't develop specs which are skewed. When you ask somebody 3 years, bank statements. Yet the last time you went to borrow a loan from your circle or from your bank, you asked for 6 months. So why do you want somebody to bring you 3 years? Why do you want somebody to have 10 references? Yet the last time, Gladys, you applied for the job I know you got, after a very difficult recruitment, you only asked for 3. Yet when you are drawing specs, for a cleaning firm, you want 10. You want to say, this person must have a minimum of 100 million, yet this person has, one is 20 million, another one is 50, another one is 120. If you add the total amount, it would still give you an average of 100. I'm only giving this illustration with, I can give Gladys because she has some bragging rights, having worked. Okay. So competent staff, it's all you need to do to make sure that you put in place. Then lastly, yes, okay, I'm being reminded, I can preach because this is what I do every day. But I do it on those letters which are 5 pages with that statement, which I say. Lastly, on please create political goodwill. Create political goodwill. What do I say? You all must by now have read the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, isn't the plan? If the government is in the project procuring for, say, food in an area, it's the project. Look at how as a profession, as a practitioner, can support government initiatives. We are finding challenges whereby procurement people are not aligned with government priorities. You know very well, fertilizer is supposed to be in this country by latest December, is it? To be distributed in the month of January, February. March is the planting season. Why would you be starting your purchase of fertilizer in December in your procurement plan? Yet you know it is government project to ensure that there is food, and as an entity which is supposed to procure for that fertilizer, the fertilizer must be at a particular time. So at a particular time, what I'm simply saying, align yourself with the government projects and understand, so that we also support the government as a procuring, as a profession. With that, I don't want to add much more. I hope when you meet the next letter, please read from page 1 to the last. Thank you very much.